The Big 12 stating its case to be the best conference in America. And this could be the deepest we've ever seen, this Big 12 conference. Conference play starts now with West Virginia on the road here in Stillwater to take on Oklahoma State. What's going on, everybody? I'm Laura Galindo here with former Cowboys guard Brendan Manzer. Brendan, we had a chance to talk to Bob Huggins before this game. He said what makes the Big 12 so tough is everybody's different. Case in point, this game, two teams founded on defense but with different approaches.
Yeah, Bob Huggins in West Virginia, back for a fourth season. It's pretty much the same results, forcing opponents into 21 turnovers a game, which leads to easy baskets. And for first-year head coach Mike Boynton, defense is the identity that he wants to establish here at Oklahoma State. And Oklahoma State fans, that resonates with them because they have been tutelaged by Henry Iba and Eddie Sutton on how to get it done in the half-court defensively.
And that's the guy to watch right there, Javon Carter, last season's Big 12 Player of the Year. Both teams opening up conference play right here in Stillwater like they did a year ago. West Virginia winning that game.
And a year ago, West Virginia, with those veteran guards and Carter and Miles, who are back for a senior season, really got after Oklahoma State early and shell-shocked them.
And they saw a lot of this. Lamont West actually went 9 of 15 from three-point range just against Oklahoma State a season ago. And he gets his first 3 attempts.
And he's been good the last 4, 16 averaged over those last 4 games.
And an early turnover. This is what WVU wants to do high off the glass. Wesley Harris, no good on the putback. Good defense inside from the Cowboys. And Mitchell Solomon right in the middle of that scrum. So Javon Carter and Daxter Miles, you're going to want to watch number 2 and number 4 in that goal. 231 combined games, the most experienced backcourt in the Power 5.
And they have turned into grown men. I mean, Javon Carter and Daxter Miles, about as tough a combination mentally that you're going to face. And it's been perfect for them under Bob Huggins to go to the full court pressure. And even since their freshman year, those two guys have always had an edge. But it's been fun to watch their maturation in terms of learning how to play over the last 4 years.
So as Oklahoma State basketball, they proceed to throw it away, and back in the hands of the Mountaineers. Mountaineers in action for the first time since Saturday when they beat Fordham 86-69. It was actually a 5-point game late in the first half. Mountaineers turned it on the second. Sagama Kanate, the kick, and West cannot get it to fall.
The Cowboys got to be careful of leaving West, and he is one of the guys that Mike Boynton was most concerned about offensively here tonight as the Cowboys turn it over for a 3rd time.
Lindy Waters stepping on the line, and Wesley Harris right in the middle of it all.
You know, you and I sitting here, you can feel it. The intensity level raises significantly when you get to conference play. And there's no better group than West Virginia and their veteran backcourt that understands the importance of this 18-game grind, the Big 12 Conference.
Carter, hesitation to West, the spin move, and gets it to drop. Lamont West with the first 5 for the Mountaineers.
And one of the things that Javon Carter has improved on this year offensively is he is distributing the ball in a great way. He's getting to the heart of the defense off the bounce more than he did the previous 3 seasons.
Kendall Smith, number 1 in the grade, running the point for Oklahoma State. Filling those large shoes of Jawan Evans from a year ago as West goes down hard, no whistle. Tavares Shine, no good on his initial 3.
And you saw right there Oklahoma State in the spread motion offense. And this is something that Mike Boynton went back to prior to the Florida State victory. And this is an offense the Cowboys ran last year. And since then, really, Jeffrey Carroll's looked more comfortable. Kendall Smith has adapted easily. And they feel like get better spacing and better movement.
Daxter Miles, no. And Carroll fighting for the rebound. Not able to save it. So Mike Boynton, how about this? First ever Big 12 game. That's against Bob Huggins in West Virginia. Talked with him before the game. He said, pretty good perspective. Huggins has won 800 games. I've won 10.
Yeah, welcome to the Big 12, right? Of course, this is a tremendous coaches league. Great players, But the coaches across the league at all schools, excellent.
Sagama Kanate, offensive rebound. And Solomon pulling down the defensive board, ending defensive possessions. That will be critical for Oklahoma State. Kanate try to reject that, but contact as Kendall Smith will go to the line.
Let's take a look right here. Kanate, 32 blocks already on the season. Gives West Virginia a rim protector, and they look pretty clean right there. Kendall Smith, maybe a little gift here early on.
Well, this is what Oklahoma State wants to do, get to the line, because that's uncharacteristic of this Oklahoma State team. Came into this shooting 80.5% from the charity stripe, third best in America. The leaders are at 80.6, Central Michigan and Xavier. So you're talking about a difference of one free throw make coming into this game.
Yeah, great point, Lowell. And you always want to get to the line, but when you shoot it that well, and that needs to be part of your MO. And the Cowboys at times this year have been good at that. Other times have settled for jumpers.
Bob Huggins says that typically West Virginia comes into a game not as good shooting the basketball as opponents. That's why they need to hit the offensive glass, force turnovers, because they need more shots than their opponents, and they're getting that so far here. 5 on the clock. Kanate, hook, and a foul called on Solomon. And this is always a concern with Mitchell Solomon. Boynton calls him the team MVP. He's got to stay out of foul trouble, though.
A very good defensive possession, and instead of going straight up, Solomon reaches just a little bit, but you're exactly right. He is textbook defensively in the half court. Terrific at hedging ball screens, always in help situations, great at bluffing at drivers and retreating back to his man, allowing his teammates, those guards up front, to get back in front of defenders. Rarely makes a mistake, and such a luxury. You know, we talk so much about rim protectors. He's not that. He's more of a position player, but very important to Oklahoma State, particularly on the defensive end. He has to stay out of foul trouble here tonight.
Kanate hits them both. Now, is this where you want to say that Oklahoma State wants this game played in the half court, like in a possession like that?
I don't think there's any question. However, against West Virginia, when you break their pressure like this, you've got to be willing to attack.
Splash. And the first field goal made for Oklahoma State.
Once you get behind that pressure, Lowell, you've got to look to attack because you have those numbers. So you've got to pick your spots.
Solomon, good defense on Kanate. Kanate, the drive goes glass. Offensive rebound. And a whistle on Oklahoma State as Wesley Harris doing the dirty work. So the Mountaineers, simply put, just one of the best defensive teams in America. Coach Boynton pointed out, they just don't force you to make bad passes. They rip the ball away as well. You got Javon Carter leading the nation in steals.
Well, he is the lead agitator out front defensively for West Virginia. And I've always felt like Dexter Miles does a terrific job of playing off of him. He's got quick hands. Gets his hands on a lot of balls, and they break free, allowing for easy opportunities. And those two, when you have 231 games together,
wow,
you're going to know each other well at both ends of the floor, and there's tremendous chemistry between those two.
And you think that's going to be huge guard play in the Big 12 as Harris misses the second. So last time down, Waters, the sophomore from Norman North, hit the 3 ball. Carter with the hounding defense. Corner 3 for Waters, misses everything, but the putback put in by Tavares Shine.
And those are tough air balls on the weak side defensively when you're blocking up. And Shine, a good job of attacking the glass, because that was very good defensive effort in the half court by West Virginia. And we talk so much about their pressure in the full court low. When they're in the half court, they can grind out games too, because they're very good defensively there.
Machi Bender the drive. Solomon stands tall, but Bender gets it to drop. And the Mountaineers respond.
If you notice the last few possessions, West Virginia not settling for the 3. They've been getting the ball to the paint.
Shine driving on Bender. And we got a whistle. West Virginia, the 10-6 lead over Oklahoma State. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball. Welcome back to Stillwater. West Virginia up on Oklahoma State. The Big 12 opener 10-6. The Mountaineers, the 7th-ranked team of the AP poll, led by the man with the 7th most wins in D1 history. Bob Huggins got that with a win over Fordham on Saturday. Brennan, look at the names above him. You just say the last name: Calhoun, Rupp, Smith, Knight, Behan, Krzyzewski. This is legendary company for Bob Huggins.
The Mount Rushmore of college basketball right there. I mean, he has done it year in and year out. And, you know, all those coaches there, any successful coach, they have an identity.
And waiting for that one to drop, Jeffrey Carroll. Didn't see him get a lot of touches in the early 5 minutes. It shows why he needs the basketball.
Yeah, the offense has to go through Carroll. I mean, he's the only proven scorer at a high level offensively for Oklahoma State. Everybody else, there's guys that can make shots, but not necessarily guys that can go get you 20 on any given night.
Yeah, the way Boynton put it, everybody can get you between 8 and 13. He's the only guy that can come out and get you 30. And offensive foul, Lamont West out of control. So that Oklahoma State defense flexing a little muscle. See the discrepancy with the shots. West Virginia, they've only hit 3, but they've put up 11, and that's really a point that Huggins echoed to us before the start of the game. They need to shoot more than their opponents to have a chance.
You want an amazing stat?
Give it to me.
West Virginia has forced more turnovers than their opponents have made shots this season. And so that 3 for 11 shooting, the reason you can survive is because the Cowboys have turned it over 3 times. And West Virginia has 5 offensive rebounds already.
John working baseline, gets it to drop. So he's got a putback and a baseline drive. Good start for Tavares Shine.
And Tavares Shine has really given Oklahoma State a lift this year. He's a two-way player. He's starting to score more offensively, and he's a perimeter defender that can make shots tough on his opponents.
7-2 run for the Pokes, and turnover West Virginia. Gallagher-Iba is starting to come to life. They weren't even sure that Shine was going to play this season. On the flight back from the Maui Invitational a year ago, started complaining of some back issues. They thought, hey, you know, a lot of guys that fly, they have some back trouble. They checked it out. Ends up, he needs back surgery. Some guys don't walk after the surgery Shine had. And before the start of the season, they weren't even sure whether he'd be able to play Big 12 basketball. What a comeback for Shine, who has started every game for the Pokes this season. Brandon Averett now in. You'll see the ball in his hand, kicks it out to Smith. No. Kanate pulls down the board. Javon Carter full steam ahead. Back to Miles. Kanate looked like it was going to be a turnover, but Kanate puts it off Carroll, and it's going to stay with West Virginia.
Well, important for Oklahoma State to take care of the ball for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But they also want to make shots for obvious reasons. But playing off of that is getting your half-court defense set up. I mean, that's the bread and butter, or at least through 12 non-conference games. Oklahoma State has shown the ability to get stops. And like you said earlier, they've got to get it into a half-court game.
Waters to Smith. Smith collects himself, and Oklahoma State pulling up by 3.
And if you notice right now, Mike Boynton has both point guards in the game. Kendall Smith and Brandon Averett off the bench.
Miles the kick to Carter. Carter quiets the crowd here in Stillwater.
Just like you would expect a veteran to do. Understanding a big possession takes the crowd completely out of it. And boy, how good has he been offensively? Distributing better, 18 points a game, shooting over 40% from 3 this year, a career best.
Probably the favorite coming into the year to be the Big 12 Player of the Year. But you have Trae Young going off in Norman. But Carter certainly still in that conversation. Well, it's the first Super Tuesday of college basketball on ESPN. We'll have 22nd ranked Texas Tech taking on Kansas in the Fog, where the Jayhawks have never lost to the Red Raiders. can see the game live on the ESPN app as well. Kansas trying to make it 14 straight. Travel call there on Yankuba Sima. As right before that, Daxter Miles Jr. picked up foul number 2. So KU trying to make it 14 straight Big 12 titles. Mike Boynton put that in perspective, says he's basically been coaching college ball for 14 years, so all he knows is that Kansas wins the Big 12.
I've been watching it a long time. That's what it feels like to me every season as well. And obviously Bill Self. I mean, it's amazing, particularly since the league went to 10 teams and you had the true 18-game grind.
Sima pulling down the rebound, playing his 4th game since becoming eligible after the transfer from St. John's. Good defense there from Carter and company. Shine, offensive rebound. The block, but gets it to go again. Shine with 3 early buckets. He's leading the Pokes with 6.
And he's given a big lift on that offensive glass. That's 2 putbacks now for Tavares Shine.
James Bolden, this is what he does. The 3-point stroke, no. Camden McGriff, transition. Carter, great defense. And Bolden comes in late and will send McGriff to the line.
Well, typically it's West Virginia pounding the offensive glass. But after an early 6-point lead for West Virginia, Oklahoma State has reversed it. Tavares Shine hitting the offensive glass. Cowboys up 2.
Here the Big 12 opener at Gallagher-Iba Arena, Oklahoma State with a 15-13 lead. First ever Big 12 game for the 35-year-old head coach of the Cowboys, Mike Boynton Jr. Took over for Brad Underwood. Gets the job, immediately names Lamont Evans his associate head coach. Then before the start of the season, Evans is one of 10 individuals arrested in an FBI probe into bribery and corruption in college basketball. Evans was fired with cause by the university, although he has pled not guilty in federal court. Oklahoma State conducted an independent internal investigation and found that the corruption was limited to Lamont Evans. I think about everything that Boynton has been through. 1 March, he's an assistant coach under Brad Underwood at Stephen F. Austin. Then next March, the head coach at a storied program like Oklahoma State.
He's had a lot thrown at him in a short period of time, but you see him right there. And as we talked to him this afternoon, calm, cool, and collected.
Oh, yeah.
Very level demeanor, bright, and I think sincere about the things that he wants to do. We talked about the defensive end of it, established that identity here at Oklahoma State. Mr. Iba, Eddie Sutton, and to be honest, the fan base has been wanting a consistently good basketball team for a long time. They've had years, but consistency in it. And so he has a lot to overcome, but he's made a good impression through 12 non-conference games so far.
Carter, 3, leaves it short. Shine, the rebound. And a foul on West Virginia. Yeah, Boynton says he doesn't believe in ruling through fear. He's a very positive guy, but very honest and upfront with all his guys. If they're going to sit for a game, he lets them know straight up. And they respond to it. And right now, we've seen some of that cool collectiveness from his guys, the way they handled the initial onslaught by WVU.
And as you would expect, West Virginia came out of the gate trying to pop Oklahoma State in the mouth. They did that last year, and Oklahoma State was really never able to recover. These Cowboys have hung tough, able to get the game a little bit more in a half-court set when they get the defense going, and the rebounding has improved, and of course they've taken care of the ball better. And that's a formula for better play against anybody.
Yeah.
But it's essential against West Virginia how great they are at what they do.
And they've been tested so far in the early season. This is the 4th-ranked opponent that Oklahoma State has played the most out of any Big 12 team. So 11-18 here in the first half. Oklahoma State in the bonus. Shine hit both, and Shine with 8 points. His career high was 20 against Wichita State. and a tough loss earlier this season. Bolden looking for space. Got some. Lefty high off the glass. And James Bolden off the bench. He can get hot quickly for WVU.
Yeah, 11 points off the bench, and I love his game. I mean, not afraid to go make plays.
Initiating the contact is Carroll, working on the bigs. And Carroll has 5.
Notice after Oklahoma State broke the pressure, they sent Jeffrey Carroll flat along the baseline so they could advance the ball up the floor, have a broken floor, and allow him to go make a play.
Averett, rebound, coast to coast. Oh, and he hits the ground hard. Wow. Brandon Averett gets right back up. That was a nosedive into the hardwood. Tomorrow on ESPN Bowl Mania, continuing with 2 more games. 4 Eastern, PlayStation Fiesta Bowl, Washington against Saquon Barkley, one of the most electric players in the country, against Penn State. And then at 8, Wisconsin in Miami, the Capital One Orange Bowl. Both games also available on ESPN Deportes and ESPN app. What a sequence from Brandon Averett.
Well, he is a quick guard with the ball in his hands, and he's downhill there. And no defender for West Virginia steps over, stops the ball high up the floor, and that's exactly what you do as a perimeter player in transition. Continue to attack towards the rim until somebody steps over. West Virginia's late, and there he is at the foul line.
Splits from the charity stripe, 22-15. Oklahoma State halfway through the first half.
You're doing great, man.
The Big 12 opener. Bolden to Wesley Harris. Harris gets into trouble. Turnover. Waters leaving it for Shine. Up and under. And Tavares Shine in double digits. West was hot early. He's cooled off, but he's back. Lamont West now up with 7. He's played his best against Oklahoma State. Waters throws it away. Turnover. Bolden baseline. And a kick ball. How about this? Great story with Mike Boynton bringing some tradition back that's literally on the shorts of this Oklahoma State team.
Well, as a staple of Eddie Sutton at Oklahoma State. And when I played here and others after me, defense were on the shorts, and Mike Boynton visited with Coach Sutton well before the season started and threw out the idea to Coach Sutton. And immediately his face lit up. And this is the words of Mike Boynton. That would it be okay if I considered putting the defense back on the shorts? And he knew when his face lit up that it was the thing to do. And certainly made Coach Sutton happy. And I think shows respect for the tradition here.
And we're seeing that defense flexing its muscle, 33%, but West Virginia coming back as Kendall Smith gets in some trouble. That's a travel. 6 turnovers now for Oklahoma State.
Well, the fans aren't going to like it, but Kendall Smith cannot go here and pull up. I mean, that is the #1 place where West Virginia wants you to go, to pick up your dribble. And he's got to be careful.
Carter back out to Miles. Miles 3-ball, and West Virginia now storming back.
And Carter, as you see him up front in the offensive role, more active and confident this year. I mean, probing, constantly looking to draw help. And that was just a classic penetrating pitch to his backcourt mate.
Waters in some trouble, clears it. But this is something that Boynton was concerned about. Now there's 18 on the clock as you're setting up your offense.
Yeah, even if you break the pressure, you don't have much time to get into your stuff. And now you're in a ball screen situation.
Smith, Waters, BB pass inside. And once again going to the paint. Sema getting 2.
Really nice weak side flash right there from Sema. And Waters able to find him. Good finish.
Could be interesting to see what kind of player Sema becomes in the Big 12. Became eligible at semester, just his 4th game. Bender, no. Offensive rebound. Bolden. Bold from outside. James Bolden. His first three-ball make.
And really shoot it. 29 three-point makes on the year, which leads the team.
Smith breaking him down off the dribble. Gets it to go. Attacking James Bolden. Got a nice pace going here, Brendan.
And for Oklahoma State to continue to have a chance, Kendall Smith has to play in the same league as Javon Carter, and he's done it so far.
West giving up the open three-ball drive, and we got a whistle and a foul called on Sema. This is what you want to see in Big 12 play, tight to open the conference. Oklahoma State picked last in the preseason coaches poll in the Big 12, yet they've got the 5-point lead on the team, picked second in the West Virginia Mountaineers. Lo Galindo here with Brendan Manzer, and already some odd stats to look at in the early goings. Oklahoma State with a 16-4 edge in points in the paint.
I mean, that's amazing, particularly since the way the game started. It looked like West Virginia coming in, I always say grown men, because Javon Carter and Daxter Miles, their experience and how tough they are. The Cowboys have bounced back, and you have to be able to hold your own on the boards and taking care of the ball. They've done that and then some. Oklahoma State right now has 6 turnovers, Lowell. But when they have broken the pressure of West Virginia, they've attacked. They have 11 fast break points, and that's part of the points in the paint, those 16 you see there from Oklahoma State.
11 zip edge for Oklahoma State and fast break points. Don't see that too much when it's a West Virginia team that you're talking about. West at the line. He's been the guy really pacing the Mountaineers offensively. Hits them both. And it's a 3-point game, 7:45 left in the first half. Cowboys have been hot. They've hit their last 5 field goals. Thomas Dzagwa, baseline kick to Camden McGriff. And now setting up the half-court offense. Spread motion, started this 3 games ago against Florida State. Dzagwa probing, and it's going the other way. Offensive foul on Thomas Dzagwa, sophomore from Florida.
Yeah, good defense right there. Nowhere to go, and anytime you extend your arm,
they're going to get you.
Right in front of Bert Smith. Yeah, they're going to call it right there. Really good half-court D. That's the thing that I love about West Virginia right now in the long-term, Lowell. It's just not about their full-court pressure and turning you over. They are really good in the half-court as well, sound and tough.
Bolden wants another one. He's got it. 2 for 3 from distance for James Bolden.
You got to find him. He doesn't need much space. I mean, he's a quick catch-and-shoot guy, as you saw right there.
Carter trying to get Smith from behind. Skip pass. Carter nearly picks it off. Dzagwa saves it behind the back, but right to Dax Miles.
Well, ill-advised play. And if you're Dzagwa, you'd rather eat the ball than try to do something careless like that.
West, nice pass to Bender, but off the outstretched arms and Oklahoma State basketball. And we can hear from right here Bob Huggins yelling at his guys to stop dribbling so much.
He wants them to move it early in the offense. And Oklahoma State sound defensively. You've got to shift the defense, and that'll open up gaps later in the offensive set.
Smith loses it again. 3 straight turnovers. Miles transition to Carter. Carter going to the line for 2.
Well, this is how it works for West Virginia. I mean, it comes in waves.
Yeah.
You start thinking you're handling it well, and then all of a sudden it turns again. And Smith, nowhere to go right there. And then the backcourt of Miles and Carter, they're going to make the right play in a 2-on-1 situation.
And Carter's in a little bit of a pain right now, trying to collect himself before he goes to the line, holding his right shoulder. Three points, 3 assists for Carter. Shot not falling to this point. 1 of 4 from outside. And Carter, leading scorer for this West Virginia team at 18 points per game. Last year's Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, leads the country with 3.7 steals per game. For that matter, all-time leader at West Virginia in that category.
Great statistics there, and he's also a very good defensive rebounding guard. He'll go back in there and get you 4 or 5 of those a game. And I hope that he is now getting the national attention that he's deserved the last couple of years, Lowell. Because I think sometimes when you're solely a defensive guy, or at least in the mind of others,
yeah,
they don't appreciate that when you see it sparingly. We see it covering the Big 12 for 3+ years now.
Seems like he's been here forever.
Seems like he's been here about 8 or 9 years,
yeah,
along with Miles.
But how about the trust that Bob Huggins puts in the hands of Javon Carter?
Miles and Carter were thrown in the fire day one as freshmen. And they've earned that trust. And for Bob Huggins, if you play hard and are coachable and certainly have the talent, he's going to find ways to play you. And nobody tougher than Javon Carter.
Oh, get out, but it's a goaltend. Kanate got all of that by Mitchell Solomon, but count the basket.
Well, Mitchell Solomon had 102 of these last season. A below-the-rim player who's about position. He's an excellent offensive rebounder, and I think Kanate a little bit surprised right there. And I'm going to get a rest there and calm down just a bit.
Now the one knock on Kanate, he tries to block everything. Those eyes get really big when he sees a shot that he can swat. Carter double team. Hesitation by Miles. Nice dish to Carter. No, misses the bunny. Bender, no. In the cylinder, that will not count. Wave off the basket. 2 point-blank misses by West Virginia.
Carter misses the bunny. This was a really good play. Carter misses. Let's see West right there. Yeah, I think that's an easy one right there. Hadn't come off the cylinder yet.
Last couple of minutes, Oklahoma State issues with turning the basketball over. Waters handling it. Former high school teammate of Trey Young at Norman North, and he steps out of bounds. And it's double-digit turnovers for Oklahoma State. Need to point out, though, last time these teams played at the end of last season in Morgantown, West Virginia actually had the 19-9 edge in turnovers, but they lost that game because Oklahoma State shot the lights out, 61%, and West Virginia 36%.
And right now, Oklahoma State 11 of 16, 69%.
Yeah.
And that is the only way you could survive 10 turnovers through just a little over 14 minutes of play. Oklahoma State will not be able to win this basketball game if the turnover rate at its pace right now continues low. They've got to clean it up over time, and that's what West Virginia does, constantly at you.
Forced turnovers on 27.6% of your possessions, second best in America, led the nation last season at 27%. And it's going back to Oklahoma State. 3 fouls on the electric James Bolden. Started on the bench, and we'll go back to it with that early foul trouble.
And that's significant. Obviously, Bolden, a very integral part of the rotation. But offensively, without question, he is their most prolific three-point shooter. 43% coming in on the year.
And 2 for 3 in this game so far. So Waters to the line. Gets his first.
And so you're a team that in stretches throughout games has trouble making shots from the perimeter. And it's a big loss momentarily, at least, having to sit him to the bench with those 3 fouls.
Waters sits in both. Also need to point out for West Virginia, they're a man down. Issa Ahmad ruled ineligible for the first half of the season. He's had to sit out. They expect him back early in January. Looking at the 9th or the 13th potentially, but that word has to come down officially from the NCAA. You're talking about Ahmad, a guy that was the second leading scorer for the Mountaineers a year ago. You don't take a guy like that out of your lineup and just have smooth sailing. Averett called for the foul.
Yeah, and not only is he an excellent player, and you expect him to continue to progress off of what he accomplished last year, but he's a piece that they don't have right now. His versatility. This West Virginia team, the backcourt, we know what that is.
Yeah.
Anchored by Miles and Carter. They've got a lot of inexperience on the front line, a lot of sophomores that continue to get better, but still learning. But a good player who is a really good piece and will be one of the best players in the Big 12 Conference.
Just a second free throw miss for West Virginia. Front end of the 1-and-1. Shine stays hot. DeForest Shine with 13.
As you mentioned earlier, Lowell, where would Oklahoma State be this season had the fourth-year junior not been able to return after that back injury?
No Juwan Evans, no Phil Forte. Lost in the offseason. And nice response there from Wesley Harris. Harris, his first field goal.
Yeah, another long stretch four, if you will, like Lamont West. Good athlete, thin. I tell you what he's done for Bob Huggins. He's rebounded really well.
Nice feed inside. Waters can't get the and one, but he will go to the line.
Well, when the offensive opportunity presents itself, Oklahoma State wants to push in transition. Even off the miss, West Virginia's going to pick you up. And Smith gets by Carter, allows numbers, and then you have the really good extra pass from Lindy Waters to Shine in the corner.
Waters has now hit all three of his free throws. Sema checks in. Solomon to the bench. Third best free throw shooting team in America. By the end of the night, who knows, they could be up to #1. So Kendall Smith checking out. Carroll checking in. And also pretty remarkable right now. 5 points for Carroll, and it's still a 4-point lead.
And just 2 shots taken.
Yeah.
And so it's a compliment to Oklahoma State, but also to West Virginia. Been able to take Carroll out of his game for the most part.
Number 15 in the Gold West, that's the leading scorer for the Mountaineers, as Wesley Harris simply loses the handle out of bounds. 7th turnover for Bob Huggins, West Virginia Mountaineers. Gallagher, Iba, showing signs of life, with the Cowboys up by 4.
Well, offensively for Oklahoma State, the story here in the first half so far has been Tavares Shine. Offensive rebounds, drives to the rim, second and third effort type plays against the bigs of West Virginia, and then the 3-point shot. Lowell, that's 13 points on just 6 shots here in the early going. That's pretty productive.
13 points, 14 minutes. That's getting hot quick. Career high is 20 points. A loss against Wichita State. Shine. It is back to Waters. Bad pass by Waters straight to Teddy Allen. And we've waxed poetic about the way Oklahoma State has played in the early going. West Virginia has not been good. They're down by 2. Cross-court pass, and you can hear from the crowd, no, no, no. And right now, Miles is saying it went off them. But it's going to stay with Oklahoma State.
You see 11 turnovers for West Virginia. West Virginia's been out-rebounded, for Oklahoma State. West Virginia's been out-rebounded, not shooting it well, but that's, like you said, Lowell, that's what allows them to be within 2.
And Shine does it again. 5 points shy of that career high. The only losses for Oklahoma State this season, the team's ranked in the top 8. Texas A&M and Wichita State, the Aggies, a common opponent with wins over the Mountaineers and the Cowboys.
I'll tell you what, both teams, a lot of careless passes across the floor. That one up the floor by West Virginia. I mean, the full court pressure defensive from West Virginia, and then the half court from Oklahoma State. You got to be sure with the ball. You got to be strong and make assertive passes.
Shine baseline kick. Carroll cannot get it to go. Allen. No, another point-blank miss. Bender back out to Allen. New shot clock. Carter. Nice feed to Bender. And to the line for Monchi Bender. New Year's Day, we got the college football playoff semifinals on ESPN. You got second-ranked Oklahoma, third-ranked Georgia kicking things off in the Rose Bowl, presented by Northwestern Mutual. Then it's number 1 Clemson and fourth-ranked Alabama on the All-State Sugar Bowl from Nolens. Both games also on ESPN Deportes and streaming live on the ESPN app. Brendan, who you got? You can say Oklahoma. No, you can say Oklahoma. You will be forgiven here in Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Well, hopefully, over my career, I've established a reputation for objectivity.
Yeah.
But absolutely, I go with the best player in the country. I mean, it's like having
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like having a tremendous point guard.
Yeah.
That can make all the plays, particularly late in games.
So are you taking Oklahoma?
I am.
Averett the drive. Foul before the shot.
What about you?
Like you said, best player in the country. And when that Oklahoma offense is rolling, and there's not many that can match that.
And defense has improved.
Yeah.
Over the second half of the season.
Baker Mayfield is that classic guy. When he plays for the other team, you don't like him all that much. But boy, if he was your quarterback, you'd love the guy. Both these football programs, West Virginia and Oklahoma State, coming off bowl seasons. Mountaineers lost theirs to Utah. Oklahoma State with a win against Virginia Tech last night. Some closure there to one of the most storied trios in Big 12 football with Aitman, Washington, and Rudolph.
Yeah, I think Rudolph leaves Oklahoma State with 50-some-odd records. James Washington, the Blitnikoff Award winner.
Allen misses everything. Solomon with the rebound. Final 2 minutes of the first half.
West Virginia has been really choppy in the half-court offensively. And the ball movement hasn't been there. The Cowboys have really pressured passers well.
Oklahoma State, they've been at their best, getting out, running, hitting quick shots after breaking the press. Shot clock at 5. Waters pulls up, in and out. And good defense there from Chase Harler. Stand right with Waters.
And you could hear Boynton, as the shot clock was going down, yelling to Waters to drive it in that situation, not settle for the jumper.
And he settled for the jumper. Carroll takes it away. Averett. But Carter just rips it. Mugged the guy. Back to Miles. And bang. How about that? Javon Carter muscles the basketball away, and Miles puts it down on the other end. That is prototypical WVU.
And watch this right here. I mean, Averett has the angle. As we talked about, Averett very sure and quick with the ball. But for some unknown reason, he basically shows it to Carter. That's a gift. I mean, quick hands, strong hands. That is an easy one for Carter, and then a great job advancing it up the floor where Miles could shoot that 3 in rhythm.
National leader in steals. 3 years on the all-defensive team in the Big 12 for Javon Carter, well on his way to make it 4 years and 4 nods on that team.
You know what I would have done if I was in Averett's situation?
You would have dunked it.
Yeah, exactly. I would have pulled up at the elbow and shot a jumper. I wouldn't even.
Don't mess with Carter?
I'm not even going to mess trying to go body to body with him.
Like a good DB. Ball hawk, Javon Carter. Final 60 seconds. 4-point lead for the Cowboys. Trying to take that into the break. A trap here from Oklahoma State. Carter gets out of it. Left short. Carroll, kick to the corner. And hold that thought. We got a timeout. As Mike Boynton wants to talk about it. The final 40 seconds of this first half. Oklahoma State trying to close out this first half, maintaining a 4-point lead. Welcome back to Stillwater, Oklahoma. Lowell Galindo here with Brendan Manzer. First Big 12 game of the season, and this is what we wanted. We got a tight game here in the first half.
Well, that's what you're going to get, I think, all season long in the Big 12 Conference. And it's nothing new. That's been that way for the last 3 or 4 years. And Bob Huggins knows that. I mean, it comes down typically to the last 5 or 6 minutes. Important possessions at both ends for each of these teams right here, Lowell. These are crucial sometimes in gaining or carrying momentum into the locker room.
Everett turns the corner back to Solomon. He's done this more this season. How about that rattling home from Mitchell Solomon, his third three-ball make of the season. He's 3 for 18. Miles, no. 6 on the clock. Everett in traffic. Smith does not realize the shot clock situation. Time expires in the first half. Cowboys don't get that shot up, but wow. 46-39 lead for the team that was picked last in the Big 12 preseason poll.
When you play West Virginia, Lowell, you have to match their intensity and toughness. And easier said than done. But Oklahoma State has done that here the first half. Despite turning the ball over numerous times, Mike Boynton's team has hung tough, has this 7-point lead.
Navarre Sean, the surprise game changer in this first half. 15 points, 5 rebounds. Carter has had a slow start, just 5 points in the first half. And how about this? The guy that Coach Boynton says is the MVP, Solomon, knocking down the 3-ball, 46-39 at the half. Just set the tone for what could be a Big 12 season you're going to remember for a long, long time. Back here in Stillwater, Lowell Galindo, Brendan Manzer, Big 12 opener, Oklahoma State. Playing well in front of the home crowd up on West Virginia, 46-39. The Cowboys shooting 64% the first half, their best mark in the first half this season. And Carroll knocks it away from Dax Miles, but it will stay with the Mountaineers.
And Oklahoma State's half-court defense in the first half was really solid. But I thought West Virginia helped it. They missed several bunnies.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think the ball moved great. You now have the offense in front of your bench, in front of Bob Huggins and his staff. And I would expect the ball movement to be a little bit better. That possession, however.
Yeah, right on cue, and it's not.
I jinxed him. But against good defenses, you have to get them moving side to side.
This is not good. Kendall Smith, the grad transfer, point guard, comes up limping. And he's going to the bench. Everett will check in. Smith, transfer from Cal State Northridge. Second team All Big West last season, led the conference with 4.8 assists per game and was the second leading scorer at nearly 17. So West Virginia opens up the second half with the turnover, but Carter gets it right back, and Carter, whoa, a late whistle. That's going to bail out Carter because we saw this in the first half multiple times. Point blank misses.
Well, Lindy Waters careless with the ball. I mean, you cannot flirt with Javon Carter. And then Carter right here misses.
He gets him on the calf.
There's no foul right there. I don't think you can call that. And Carter was anticipating contact that didn't occur.
So we see it again.
Look at this right here. I mean,
gets him on the back of the knee.
Maybe extended from behind. Hard to tell right there.
Whatever the case, Carter takes advantage.
But more importantly, for anybody, when you have maybe the best defender in the country on the ball, you can't stand out at midcourt and just pound it.
Saw him rip one away from Everett in the first half. Everett, no. Kanate getting physical with Mitchell Solomon. And Cowboys will keep possession.
Well, that's two excellent offensive rebounders in the Big 12. Two big bodies going out right there in Kanate and then Mitchell Solomon.
Two of the better offensive rebounders in the country. Shine. Wow, if he would have got that to go, you would have known it's simply his night. He's going to have to go to the line to earn these two. And Lamont West picks up the foul. Foul number 2 for West. James Bolden coming off the bench. He's the only one in this game with 3 fouls so far.
You know, on that drive right there from Shine, it looks like nothing is there, and it probably wasn't. But it's a lesson in, if you're going to drive with strength. Because if you go in soft, no matter if you get fouled or not, the officials are going to assume you're weak and not give you the benefit of the doubt. Shine tried to turn the corner, and when he did, he tried to go hard. And I think you get the benefit of the doubt there, and West Virginia bails him out, because that was going to be a tough shot. He didn't quite have the angle.
Is this something that you expected to see Oklahoma State this good at getting to the paint and converting once they get there?
You know, it's interesting, 2 games ago, December 19th against Tulsa, they went to the line 1 time. Wow. And so they've had their moments where they drive it. Did in that game. They haven't been consistent at it, but tonight been really good. And West Virginia will foul you. And they've done a good job of drawing those fouls.
How about for West Virginia? Who's the easy bucket? Who gets him that?
And it's Carter. I think you got to get ball movement early. And then when the ball returns back to Carter's hands, when you've opened those gaps or cracks in the defense, and that's when Javon can attack. And he's averaging over 6 assists a game. But against good defenses, without any ball movement, they're going to be in great defensive position. Help is going to be shaded your direction. It's going to be hard to create help situations.
Carter, step back, nice move. Rattling around. And heads up plays. Wesley Harris goes down and calls for the timeout. Scrum for the basketball, eventually won by the Mountaineers. Second half just underway. Oklahoma State up on West Virginia 46-41. Showing some physicality at the Big 12 opener as well.
This is Fast Break with Javon Carter. Did you tie the bow tie or did someone help you?
Nah, it's a clip-on.
Hardest worker on the team?
Bob Huggins.
Best part of the Mountaineer Maniacs?
They come and support no matter what.
That's Fast Break.
And we talked to Bob Huggins about Javon Carter, asked him what makes him special. His answer, he does everything right. Everything, Brendan.
On, off the floor.
Kanate there, drops that one. He's not getting the shot to fall.
Yeah, and he shot it well. And I'd be more concerned. He's turned it over 4 times. Hasn't been in seek offensively in terms of running the ball club like he typically has.
Waters trying to find Shine. But right now, I mean, you got the Mountaineers down by 3. Nutmegged Kanate when it goes to Carter. He gets the steal. And it's off Wesley Harris. So going the way of Oklahoma State.
I tell you what, there is no time that either team can relax. You get an easy turnover, and you're in transition thinking that you can have numbers and get opportunities. But the focus for both these teams, the identity defensively at all times, active hands, toughness.
So Kendall Smith getting ready to check back in the game. We saw him go down. Looked like his ankle was hurting. Averett has come in. Averett actually 20th nationally in assist to turnover ratio. As back on the offensive glass is Solomon.
Boy, great positioning right there on the weak side for Mitchell Solomon.
Crazy to think about a guy in Solomon. He's playing a lot of basketball here. He's a senior, 1 career double-double, yet he's described as the team MVP. How is that possible?
Giving them a little more offensive production, really for the first time in his career.
Harris, no. Solomon goes down. is Oklahoma State ball.
And watch Solomon, and you get the touch at the high post. And this is the spread motion offense. Look at the spacing. And then Waters trying to go over the top. Look at Solomon. Slip right in there. You have to put a body on him. You can't get into a jumping contest because he plays the percentages. Weak side right there. Great use of the body, and that is nothing new. And a reason Bob Huggins has excellent respect for him.
Carroll will go to the line as Lamont West fouls him in the act. West picks up foul number 3. Bolden also with 3 fouls. And Carroll also a guy waiting to get it going in this game as well. Just 5 points. And he's going to the line for the first time. He's the guy since the Florida State game where they went with this spread motion offense. His numbers have been through the roof. 20 points per game in the 3 before this.
Well, that's the offense along with playing off of Jawan Evans last season that allowed him to be an all Big 12 type of performance. And Mike Boynton said as much. He said when we went back to the spread, he felt like they'd eventually use it more as the season progresses. Decided to put it in before the Florida State game. And he said the light turned on for Jeffrey Carroll, and it's almost like Carroll said, "Oh yes, this is the offense where I scored in a lot of different ways." And the difference for him this year between last year, it was Jawan Evans creating those opportunities. He was the focus of defenses. For Jeffrey Carroll, as we've seen tonight, he's got 17 more of these where he will be the focus of the opponent defensively. And he's going to have to find ways to score.
Goes to the line for 3, gets 2 of them. Also a slow start for him, missed the first 3 games. They had to make sure that he was cleared, he was eligible after Lamont Evans was arrested as a product of that FBI case, but after the internal review, he was cleared and he's back out there. Scoring has dropped from a season ago. He's starting to pick up now as Teddy Allen, a guy that can be a pure scorer for this West Virginia team, drops it in. Nice move from Smith. Sema working on Bender and gets it to drop another point inside. That's 24 points in the paint for Oklahoma State.
Yeah, nice adjustment there by Sema. And then good ability to go to that offhand to protect it from Brendan.
There he is again. Teddy Allen filling it up.
Can really score. 24 points in 23 minutes 2 games ago for West Virginia against Coppin State. And he is a confident offensive player. I mean, he's not the guy that misses 4 or 5 shots and thinks that he can't play anymore. That's just going to drive him more to go make plays.
12th nationally a year ago in the high school ranks in terms of the leading scorer in all of high school basketball. (52-47) Oklahoma State with the lead. Mountaineers trying to close the gap. Big 12 opener here at Stillwater, Oklahoma. Logan Lindo, Brendan Manzer. I know what you're thinking. How's this guy get so good looking? Well, if you look down this way, the answer is down here. Keep going to the man in stripes right there, Dr. Lee Manzer, your pops. Been keeping the stats here. Been involved 30-plus years at Oklahoma State.
Loves doing it. You know, when I was playing, he was the statistician. And there was a time after a ball game, Coach Sutton looks at the stats, Lowell, and he says, 5 assists in 12 minutes. And you don't even drive the ball. And then he says, oh, yeah, your dad's the statistician.
Cooking the books.
And probably the best thing, other than it's nice to have him right there, is if I get hungry or thirsty, I can go borrow some money, go to the concession stand.
Pops is always good for that, isn't he? You think you're a local celebrity around here. Dr. Lee Manzer still teaching here at Oklahoma State as well?
Yeah, 40-plus years.
Unbelievable.
76 years young.
That's where the genes come from, my man.
Thank you for doing that. That's very nice.
Sema working in the post on Bender. He wants it. Showing off the hook, and it drops. 6 points for Sema.
Yeah, Oklahoma State. until Sema became eligible, really didn't have a guy that could score with his back to the basket. And Sema now has given him two of those.
No-look pass from Allen, but another inside miss from Harris. But a foul bails him out.
And Oklahoma State, as I said, they haven't had this in a while. And not saying that he is Bryant Big Country Reeves, but he's isolated, the good feels Bender, and then works himself where he's able to turn back over his left shoulder on his strong side.
It's a shot blocker as well as a freshman at St. John's. 2.4 block shots per game, 22nd in the NCAA, 60 total, second in the Big East. Also showed he's got a developing offensive game as well. 7 points per game as a freshman in the Big East. You can build off that.
Well, he immediately, you don't have game shape when you're sitting out. And his first game back was Florida State, that nice win that Oklahoma State had. Played 16 minutes, and his presence certainly was felt. And even if he doesn't score buckets, a guy like that has some length. Opponents who drive to the rim know that a rim protector like that is sitting back waiting on him.
Shine breaks the press. 15 points for Shine, all in the first half. The rip and move, off balance from Carroll. And Bender pulls down the rebound. Teddy Allen has been the hot hand for West Virginia. Instant offense. Doesn't pass the ball much, but right now Mountaineers just need somebody to drop it in the cylinder. And fortunately for West Virginia, that pass errant but off the hands of the Cowboys.
Well, sometimes when you are struggling to score on the road, Bob Huggins has been through a lot of these, and he understands. And you're going to try to find a combination sometimes, get a guy in there that can go make a play, who's not scared to make a play. And although Allen is a freshman, he's always looking to attack.
Like that, blocked by Solomon. Allen wanted a whistle, does not get it.
I love that. That was not a good shot in terms of shot selection, and that will not deter him from trying to go make a play. He's trying to make some stuff. Yeah, he's trying to make some stuff happen.
2 blocks from Mitchell Solomon. Didn't have to elevate too much for that one. 9 on the clock. Carter, shovel pass, and there he is, Allen, making the most of his limited time. And Allen quickly up to 8 points.
And one of the few times in quite a while that Javon Carter has been able to hit the seam and set up a teammate.
But Allen called for a foul, a little too handsy there with Carroll. Yeah, because Carter's made some nice passes, hasn't got the guys to finish to help that assist total.
And as I watch him live for the first time this season, I've seen him many times over the years, I think what is better this season is in the past when he drives it deep, sometimes he gets too deep and can't make the play.
It's Carroll with the blow-by. And Carroll, 9 points. Carter tried to go behind his back. Shine with it, tiptoeing. Shine with the finish. Tavares Shine, perhaps playing the game of his career. Timeout, West Virginia.
Oklahoma State continues to get paint points off the drive. And here is Jeffrey Carroll, straight line drive. Allen anticipating the ball screen to the left. Carroll rejects it and goes straight to the rack. And then off the turnover right here. Now watch Shine. You want to push the ball up the floor in transition, Lowell. But if no defender stops you, you continue to flow to the rim. And that's one thing Oklahoma State has really taken advantage of in offensive transition. West Virginia has not communicated well tonight, getting the ball stopped first, protecting the basket, and then working out inside out. They haven't communicated matched up, and Oklahoma State has had several opportunities where they're basically going the length of the floor and laying it in.
And Oklahoma State, they may finish with the season high in turnovers, but this also may be their best shooting night of the year as well. Up to 63%. Tavares Shine, 17 points. 3 shy of the career high.
When you play West Virginia against their pressure, sometimes you'll have threes in transition and you settle, and you have to guard against that. Oklahoma State has done a really nice job of not taking a bunch of three-point shots.
Carroll tries to jump the pass. Where does the offense come from now? Carter. Back out to the corner, 3 on the clock. Allen recognizes and drops it in. And one for the youngster, Teddy Allen. Heating up quickly.
Love it.
He loves it too.
What they've done is he's flashing to the high post. Boom, see that right there? And then he's got Shine, who they're about the same height, but Allen, although a freshman, physical, good size, body ready to play at this level. And then he's able to get Shine to back down somewhat and then go finish. I mean, really good what he's doing offensively here in the second half.
Three-point play from Teddy Allen. Reminds me a little bit in terms of physical maturity of Lindell Wigington, freshman at Iowa State, a dude that is just sturdy beyond what you typically see from a true freshman. Smith, high off the glass and drops it. Kendall Smith showing that that ankle is fine. Carter responds, leaves it short. And rebound pulled down by Cameron McGriff and had to remove the hand of Harris. Carroll, nifty feed to Solomon, no. And a travel before the second opportunity. Good call there.
And Solomon right there trying to rush it. And he went for the second effort after missing the first one. You know, he really had Bender out of position.
All right, so Allen quickly has become the leading scorer for West Virginia. You go back to 1-3. Instead, it's Kanate. The spin in the hook and fires it home with the line drive.
So what Bob Huggins has done with this team over the last handful of possessions, you're getting high post touches with Allen. You get the ball flat along the baseline in an isolated situation for Kanate. Now, that can only happen when you have the right kind of ball movement.
Solomon cannot keep it alive, and back-to-back sloppy possessions from Mitchell Solomon. And you can see the sign of frustration on his face. Can Oklahoma State hold on? The final 11-51. We'll find out. Back-to-back turnovers for Mitchell Solomon. Would have done this a year ago, he would have been toast. But Mike Boynton says biggest difference for Solomon now as a senior, the emotional maturity. He's going to be able to make a clean slate after this. Should not affect him for the rest of this game.
You know, Mitchell Solomon is extremely intelligent. Engineering major, has high expectations of himself. But with that, sometimes you can be overly critical, and he beats himself up. You see that with players at different times. But as you mentioned, Lowell, Mike Boynton has done a terrific job of getting him to forget and move on to the next play. And I think is a big reason. You know, look, he's averaging 12 points a game over the last 4 games. And if you're hearing that, you think, well, that's nice, but what's the big deal? He's averaged 4 points a game for his career.
Wow.
And on a team that needs collective scoring night in and night out, all the pieces to contribute, that is huge for a team like Oklahoma State offensively.
They're shooting lights out, 63%, but West Virginia has started to heat up here. 6 of 11 for the Mountaineers in the second half. Most of that from number 13, Teddy Allen. Allen still out on the court for the Mountaineers, and they are right there where they need to be. A few more turnovers, a few more shots falling. And this is a different ball game. Carter off balance. An offensive rebound put back. That's the Mountaineers game. Kanate with the putback.
Absolutely, and it was a tough shot by Carter, but what he did in the very least is he drew the help. And then that allows Kanate the weak side position off the miss.
Showing why the Mountaineers are the #1 offensive rebounding team in the Big 12. Carter comes right in for the theft and gets it. Turnover, Kendall Smith gets himself into some trouble in the corner. Timeout. Mike Boynton in Oklahoma State.
I cannot stress the importance. I mean, you have to understand who Javon Carter is.
He's almost a pest.
4 steals a game. Strong, smart, quick hands. You cannot be careless when he's in your area.
I love this, though. You hear a lot of coaches say, show me your greatness when you're not making shots. What else can you do? Carter, 1 of 8 from the field in this game, but no doubt he's leaving his impact defensively. Meanwhile, the guy doing it offensively is Teddy Allen. Really has picked up slack, and it's all been pretty much in the second half.
Allen is about as confident an offensive player for a freshman as you can have. He's done a terrific job. See him flashing, showing hands. Hey, give me the basketball. I have an ISO situation. Here's the and one on Shine, and look at him right there. That doesn't look like a guy that's intimidated by the bright lights of his first conference game in the best conference in America. I mean, he's got, what does he have? He's got 11 points in 10 minutes.
And not an explosive athlete.
Just a score.
Knows how to get his shots, and a nice feed there. And now West Virginia attacking inside back-to-back from Kanate, and we are knotted up at 60. Shine the response. No. And a foul from McGriff as Lamont West was trying to secure the rebound.
You're seeing signs of better offense from West Virginia. And I mentioned it earlier as the half began, with the offense being in front of Bob Huggins. And you've talked about Allen getting touches at the high post. They're starting to throw it inside a little bit and put pressure on the defense of Oklahoma State.
Kanate wants it again. Solomon on him. A methodical comeback here, 7-2 run as Miles draws the whistle. And Solomon called for the foul. First Super Tuesday college basketball season on ESPN on its way. Got number 22 Texas Tech going up against Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse. Jayhawks trying to make it 14 straight Big 12 titles. That game Tuesday, 9 Eastern. They also play tonight, ESPN2 opening up in Austin against the Texas Longhorns.
Very underrated play. You want one of the underrated point guards in the country, in my opinion?
Who that?
Keenan Evans, Texas Tech. And he's not just become good as a senior for Chris Beard's ball club. And just one of many excellent point guards. And as you look at the Big 12, it's really amazing. Last year, you lose Monte Morris of Iowa State, Juwan Evans of Oklahoma State, Frank Mason of Kansas, the National Player of the Year. Yet the league is still packed with excellent point guard play. Keenan Evans is one of those.
8-zip run for the Mountaineers. They have taken the lead by 2. Three turnovers in the last 2:20, make it 4 as Averett, usually sure-handed with the rock, gets called for the carry. But this is what West Virginia does, right? I mean, it's one thing to handle that pressure for 30 minutes. Can you do it for 40, though?
It is the attrition of what they throw at you constantly. It's taxing, it's tough, very difficult to play against.
Carter saves that from being a backcourt violation. Still plenty of time to work with. Falls over. Averett collects it. The push to Shine.
You could show that lead.
Waters. Got it! Cowboys ripping the lead back. Long rebound. But he slipped, and that's a travel on Javon Carter.
Well, Javon Carter might be the best ball hawk in the country, but watch Brandon Averett. He does not let Carter turn the corner. Pressure, yet containment. Carter coughs it up, and Shine does a nice job of finding Waters for the three-point shot in transition. Brandon Averett, and that's what you get from him when you bring him off the bench. You get no drop-off. In fact, you get better play defensively, particularly on the ball.
Carter on the bench now, 9.5 left. Carter with 7 turnovers. That's a career high for the senior. Shine. too long. Where does the offense come from now with no Carter? He's not been hitting his shots, but he has been facilitating. And the guy that we saw provide some of the spark off the bench is back in. James Bolden ran into foul trouble with 3 in the first half. Allen lets it slip away, gets it back. What an angle off the glass. Teddy Allen making a name.
Simple, smart basketball. You go to Allen because he's playing well, but the recognition of who is on him. Brandon Averette. His strength is out front pressuring the ball. His strength is not low post defense at 5'9". Very good offensive basketball, making the simple play.
Allen 5 of 6 from the field in this second half. And like you alluded to, this is the stage to make a name for yourself. Big 12 opener. You can feel it, right? That it's different now.
Well, it just means much, much more. And I promise you, these two ball clubs understand it. You can tell with the intensity level, particularly on the defensive end they play tonight. Everybody in this league knows every night will be a war. And the night you don't bring it, you're going to get blown out of the gym.
Yeah. Allen goes to the bench with 4 fouls. So now West Virginia playing out without their leader, Javon Carter, taking a breath. Without their leading scorer in this game, Waters too strong. Bolden now running the point for the Mountaineers.
So what's happened a little bit offensively? Oklahoma State now has become more of a jump shooting team. West Virginia, for the most part, has been better about getting paint touches off the drive or with post touches.
So Kanate was trying to call the timeout. They're calling this one a jump ball, and it's going to go the way of Oklahoma State. Got a dogfight here in Stillwater to start off the Big 12. Oklahoma State coming out last night against Virginia Tech in the Camping World Bowl. Getting the victory. We need to remind you that ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball brought to you by Phillips 66. Proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball. Another trophy for Oklahoma State, and the swan song there for Rudolph, Aitman, Washington. Rudolph over 300, Aitman and Washington with 100. They're gone. Justice Hill, he's going to have to carry the torch, but you're kind of used to dominant running backs here in Stillwater, Oklahoma.
The greatest ever. And I was a high school student when Barry Sanders was playing here, and I've told so many people, watching him on television or highlights is impressive, but to have seen him live, what he would do to would-be tacklers, I've never seen anything like it since.
That's quite a trio, though, that Oklahoma State has to replace. If there's a fan base that knows about the difficulty of replacing the trio like that, talk to the Mountaineers. They went through life after Geno Smith, Tavon Austin, and Stedman Bailey. One of the best trios that we've seen in recent memory. West Virginia Mountaineers, undefeated in the United States. Their only loss the season opener against Texas A&M in Germany. 11 straight wins, the longest since their 2010 Final Four run. Dax Miles, no. Carter still on the bench. Oklahoma State, meanwhile, shooting 57%. That number is dropping, though. It's been in the 60s for most of the night.
Yeah, it's definitely cooling off. And you can see Jeffrey Carroll, as the game is winding down, and he's starting to press a little bit. Last couple touches he's had.
Carroll, the drive. He's going to go to the line. Tonight on SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt. After the Cotton Bowl with USC Ohio State. Take a closer look at Sam Darnold's NFL future. What could be his final game. Darnold, he's a beast. Also, Kirk Herbstreit, his assessment of Ohio State's season. And the funniest and most unique moments of 2017 from Scott Van Pelt's perspective, and the best available video of the year. So Carroll to the line, misses his first. Javon Carter now checks back in. Pretty good break there with some extra time to rest for Javon Carter.
Might be a blessing in disguise, but you want him down the stretch, I mean, for obvious reasons.
Only 2 fouls But that was definitely to get him ready for the stretch drive. Solomon contesting the shot. But West goes down. So Solomon picks up foul number 4. So Solomon, got described by Mike Boynton as the team MVP for Oklahoma State, 1 away from the limit. And then you've got the leading scorer on the court for the Mountaineers, the youngster Teddy Allen, also with 4.
And right there off the Carroll miss, Oklahoma State, very lax getting back in transition. We're down to the nitty-gritty right here, like you see in these type of games in the Big 12. 6:40 left, 1 possession game. You cannot have mental lapses like that. And then it ends up forcing Solomon into a help situation, even albeit in transition. And that's where most of his fouls come from. Too easy off the miss for West Virginia to have an opportunity at the foul line.
And those misses at the foul line to begin with for Oklahoma State, just 16 of 24 from the line in this game. Talking about the number 3 free throw shooting team in America.
And you wonder off those Carroll misses if it has a lot to do with him just never being able to get into any flow.
Yeah, because he really hasn't through the course of this game.
I mean, he's not just missing shots, he's not getting shots.
Yeah. Is that something West Virginia is doing?
Absolutely. They have multiple guys that end up on him that can defend, keep him in front, or deny.
So Waters handling the ball there. Carroll pulls up, not really a rhythm shot, stationary, and that's really the type of shots they were trying to get away from with Carroll going with this spread motion offense.
And West defensively, a great job right there. You saw his length. He protected the drive, but close enough to contest. Carroll settles for the 3-point shot.
Harris goes down, but we got a whistle. And Tavares Shine picks up the foul. 2 for Shine.
Boy, it's a tough one right there. It's like the hip was put out.
Yeah.
It's either a no call or tough one for Shine.
So both teams in the bonus for the final 5:56. 1-1 here from Harris. Gets the first.
It's been slowly but surely for West Virginia. I mean, you don't notice it because of the way the game's being played, but Oklahoma State really struggling to score here over the last several minutes. So now West Virginia, as they do, they grind you. Their pressure, their toughness. Now they got this 4-point lead.
Split from the line by Harris. And what they've been doing all night long is forcing turnovers. Oklahoma State has been coughing it up. They were just counting it by breaking the press and making advantage of those opportunities with lights out shooting for the most part.
The turnovers aren't as glaring when you don't turn it over and you're taking advantage. And now there's turnovers, shots not falling. And credit West Virginia tightening the half-court D, being a little more conservative in the full court, not allowing as many easy transition buckets here.
Lamont West picks up foul number 4. Carroll, last time to the line, missed both of them. 81% free throw shooter coming into this game. He hit at an 81% clip a year ago when he was second team All Big 12 by the AP and by the coaches. Oklahoma State 81% at the line tonight, 17 of 25, and multiple occasions where they've missed both at the line. Carroll splits, however. Can you attribute that to anything, Brendan?
I think it's the grind of the game that West Virginia presents.
Nice put back there for the Mountaineers. Carter no, but Miles cleaned it up. That's that experienced backcourt. Cowboys need a response. Water no, but he's gonna go to the line.
Well, part of the grind is it's not just the pressure from West Virginia. It's the constant attacking of the offensive glass. And as Carter misses, it's a soft bounce, an easy one for the touch follow. And despite Carter not having his typical game, 7 turnovers, you still love him down the stretch in these type of situations.
Got to watch this the final 5 minutes, though. Kanate to the bench. That's the rim protector. He's now going to the bench with 4 fouls. Bender checks in, not nearly the defensive player that Kanate is. Meanwhile, Oklahoma State, a cold spell. Haven't hit from the field in the last 4.5 minutes, and it's affecting them, bleeding through to the charity stripe as well. 5 minutes left. Mountaineers done a really good job quieting this crowd here at Gallagher-Iba Arena. The fear is for Oklahoma State when the shot does fall for Carter. What happens? He may not have to hit shots, though, with the way Teddy Allen is playing.
Boy, that is a great play and call by Bob Huggins. You get really a block-to-block rub with Allen. And McGriff gets completely turned around.
5 minutes without a field goal for Oklahoma State. Who is the answer here? Smith the pull-up. It will not be Smith. McGriff gets the offensive rebound. There's going to be a foul on West Virginia.
Just a moment ago, it's Allen continuing to attack. So you have Daxter Miles pointing the ball up the top of the key. And then you get the rub. Slow communication on the switch from Waters to McGriff. And you saw him hold up his hands. That was just baiting the Oklahoma State defense into thinking they were going to go that direction. Almost like a misdirection play that you see in football. Great call right there offensively.
How about this for a turn of events, though? Oklahoma State had the 20-6 edge in points in the paint at halftime. Now for the game, it's a 30-26 edge for Oklahoma State. So the Mountaineers now really turning the tables and pounding it inside.
And much of that work in the paint has to do with what Teddy Allen has done in the second half. And you just saw there, 13 of his 15 have come in the second half.
Kanate has been good in the paint as well in the second half. Both of them with 4 fouls. Home crowd trying to get back in it.
You got Oklahoma State in a zone this possession.
Allen. Back out to Harris. No. Bender with the big rebound. Machi Bender working the offensive glass. New shot clock for the Mountaineers.
Smart to reset the offense and put Oklahoma State back on defense for the shot clock.
Carter just 1 of 9. Now 2 for 10. And what a bucket from Javon Carter. One of the most experienced players in all of college basketball. Showing everybody it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
When the toughness you saw right there, he knew he needed to make that shot. Terrific job of finishing the play. A little extra follow through on that 3-pointer.
And it's now 6 minutes since Oklahoma State hit from the field. A little bit of shell shock here for the Cowboys. Smith weaving through everybody, missing point blank. So the problems that plagued West Virginia in the first half, plaguing the Cowboys, and Carter throwing it up, but he's going to the line. And that's going to be it. Solomon fouls out.
Back in Stillwater, West Virginia on a 20-7 run over the last 9 minutes. Oklahoma State protecting Mitchell Solomon with 4 fouls in the zone. They forget about Javon Carter, who has struggled from the floor tonight, hits a huge 3, extends the leads to 7. And then you go down on the other end. After a miss by Kendall Smith, Javon Carter pushes 1-on-4 in transition. But who does he go right at? Mitchell Solomon with those 4 fouls. I promise you, Javon Carter knew Mitchell Solomon had those 4 fouls and the importance he is to Oklahoma State. And you see where Mitchell Solomon is now. That is the benefit, luxury of having experience, toughness, and the great player that Javon Carter is.
With the team MVP for Oklahoma State, Mitchell Solomon has fouled out Carter to the line. Coming up next here on ESPNU, it's K-State and Iowa State. That game currently airing over on ESPN News. My guy Lance Blanks going to be on the call from Ames. Give him some love. Check him out. He's no Brendan Manzer, but he tries.
And he says, thank goodness.
So Javon Carter looking like a guy playing in his 120th college basketball game. Where does the offense come from? More than 6.5 minutes since Oklahoma State made a bucket. Carroll gets his miss. No. Bender, good defense when he's called for the foul.
Well, there's your answer right there. And Jeffrey Carroll, the strong drive, and he's always been a guy that could absorb the contact and still give the ball a chance. But did you notice on his second shot, not much lift?
Yeah.
And again, I think that goes back to how West Virginia wears you down over time. He struggled from the line mightily. An area where he's typically very good. There's another miss.
20 of 31 from the line. Atypical for Oklahoma State. Solomon drops that. Time is running out this Big 12 opener.
And Mike Boynton getting Carroll just a little bit of a quick rest. You got a defensive possession right there. You want to pick up full court. You bring Averett in.
Steal from Smith. The spin to Waters. Shine, corner, back to Smith. Smith cannot get the roll. Harris with the rebound. Stillwater folks, they thought he took that off the rim. But a quick turnover. Cowboys will have an opportunity to respond. It's been more than 7 minutes since this team hit a shot. Remember that 3-ball from Lindy Waters III gave Oklahoma State the 1-point lead, and it has been all Mountaineers since then. Back at the 9:45 mark. So who do you go to here, man?
Well, Mike Boynton gets, as we said, Jeffrey Carroll back in the game on this offensive possession. There you go.
Tough basket, count it, and one.
So they go right to him. And notice the spacing from Oklahoma State. I mean, every Oklahoma State player out beyond the three-point line, it stretches the help as Jeffrey Carroll turns the corner. Nice rip. And then you saw it last year, Lowell. Much improved ability for Carroll to go left.
Yeah.
Through his sophomore year, it was predominantly the right side that he would drive. And you saw the rip and attack from the left there.
Carroll starting to pick it up in the second half. He's going to come out. Cameron McGriff comes back in. 2:22 left. No one home. Allen. No! Kanate the rebound. A lot of hand fighting going on, and finally a whistle. And the foul's called on Oklahoma State, Kendall Smith. How about that, though? Even when Teddy Allen is not on the mark, things are going right for West Virginia.
Well, when Allen missed the dunk and Kanate runs the ball down, you had Bob Huggins and everybody on the staff, on down to the trainer and strength coach. You see the miss here, telling him to get the ball out, and they were calling for Carter to come over and get it. And unfortunately, Kanate bailed out of the pressure on the foul.
Kanate just a 67% free throw shooter on the year. He's now 3 for 3 in this game. Kanate's been big in the second half. He splits. Final 2 minutes of the first Big 12 game of the season. Showing you why there's no tough outs here in the Big 12 Conference. Shine the kick to Carroll. Carroll's got it! Oh boy! Big 12 basketball. Jeffrey Carroll just waiting for his time. Wasn't getting the touches in the first half. He's getting them here in the second half, and it's a 3-point game, Brendan.
Well, I mentioned Carroll looked tired. He's gotten a couple short rests on a defense for offense situation. And Tavar Shine, the hard drive And you saw the legs right there. And when you're tired and it's late in the game, you got to overemphasize your footwork and your legs. You saw right there, good feet, good lower body from Carroll, good arch on the ball, and a key basket. And we talk so much about how tough West Virginia is, and they are the standard, I think, in college basketball for toughness, both ends of the floor, how they play, and that's a Bob Huggins thing. But Mike Boynton, this ball club, is not as talented as many other teams in this league. You get the sense they're going to make it tough on everybody in conference play.
And Boynton's so calm in every situation that's thrown his way. And he's seen pretty much every situation you can possibly imagine through 12 games as a head coach. And his team staying in the moment. They went more than 7 minutes without a field goal. Yet the leader on this team in terms of putting it in the cylinder, Jeffrey Carroll, has gotten it going. And we're seeing this a lot now from Boynton down the stretch. Those substitutions get Carroll out on these defensive possessions.
Yeah, the dead ball situations have allowed them to get him a little rest. But he is also not the strongest defender. This allows Mike Boynton to get a much better defensive team. You get Averett in the game.
McGriff comes in once again.
Got some athleticism and some length, and the full court pressure has bothered West Virginia at times.
Last 6 points by Carroll. He'll check back in once Oklahoma State gets the ball back. West harassed. Averett on him with McGriff.
Now you've got to be solid and not gamble for Oklahoma State.
No one home! Wesley Harris almost threw it down. But McGriff comes in late. Doesn't allow the dunk, but he's going to go to the line for 2.
See, I think this is a mistake. I mean, you get the shot clock down to about 15. And Lindy Waters helps up the floor against one of the best point guards in the country. Well, he's going to make the correct pass. At that situation, low in a grinder, and you get the shot clock down, you just have to be solid. Make West Virginia score over the top of you. Try to get yourself a one and done. The gamble defensively allowed West Virginia to put points on the board in an easy way.
One more for Harris, who's at 8. Allen, the leading scorer for West Virginia, with 15. Carter second with 12, even though he's only hit 2 from the field. 91 seconds left. Carroll has checked back in the game.
Five guards in the game for Oklahoma State.
Carroll with the last 6 points for the Cowboys. Waters, spin move to the bucket. And Harris called for the foul.
Once again, Lowell, Oklahoma State with that 5-guard lineup in the spread motion offense. It's terrific spacing. And the way you stretch out a game when you're down 5, minute 10 left, is you drive the ball. Make them defend you, drive it with strength. And Waters did it right there.
And Waters is the player that allows them to be so versatile, in the words of this coaching staff. Play him from the 1 to the 4. Lamont West checks in. Wesley Harris to the bench, and once again it's McGriff for Carroll for this next defensive possession.
If I'm Oklahoma State, you test West Virginia against your pressure early. If they break it, they're not going to go quick as they try to get that clock to go down. And you just got to be solid. Trust that half-court defense that has made you who you are up to this point of the season. You see Mike Boynton backs off of it right here.
Waters hits them both. One possession game. Averett all over Carter. To the corner. Short. Averett with the rebound. He's muscled out of bounds. And no whistle. Averett got clobbered out of bounds. What do you think, Brendan?
Yeah, another question is who did it go off of? That's where the officials are right now. I think you've got to let guys go make plays late in the game. But that's if you beat somebody to the basketball.
He's there.
That's got a foul. Here's what I'm talking about. See, there's Averett. He beats him to the ball. And in my mind, the officials probably saw they're there at the same time and want to let it go. Now the question is,
who's it off?
Who is it off of?
That is tough. Oh man, it looks like both of them get it at the last moment. Here's another look. So the officials taking a look at every
The call was West Virginia's call, right?
available option. So it's called off of Oklahoma State. It's West Virginia basketball as it stands right now. Averett and West. Looks like it was simultaneously touched. This is a huge call right here.
And what both coaches, regardless of what happens here, in Mike Boynton's case, he's talking about their next offensive possession. And he's also talking about if West Virginia remains with the basketball, that you still have to get that one more defensive stop to give yourself a chance. And you're going to get the ball back in that case.
This is a toughie. So no whistle, and it's going to stay with West Virginia.
And it's one of those where the initial call, I mean, it was hard to determine, but I think that's the right thing. It's got to stay with West Virginia if that was the original call.
How about the no call on the foul, though?
That might be a different thing.
We know how they feel here in Stillwater. So new shot clock, 30 seconds on the shot clock, 45 in the game. Good feed to Miles from Carter off the inbound. That is the experience in the backcourt paying off.
And I think Oklahoma State took it for granted that West Virginia might be conservative on that underneath out-of-bounds play.
Averett and one! We ain't done yet here in Stillwater. Lamont West fouls out.
Well, Oklahoma State will just not go away. And every time West Virginia has looked to stretch it out a little bit, Oklahoma State has come back with an answer bucket. We've seen it a lot from Carroll here down the stretch, and then with a quick move, the pull-up. And that's something that Brandon Averett is adept to. He's got a nice little mid-range game because his quickness gets you back on your heels.
Yeah.
That's how, at his size, he can create a little bit of space for the quick pull-up jumper.
Huge free throw here for the sophomore from Richardson, Texas. And it's a two-point game with 33 seconds left. West Virginia picked second in the preseason poll in the Big 12. Oklahoma State last. Bolden open for a moment in the corner, and it's a foul. And Bolden to the line off Waters' third foul. So double bonus here. 2 free throws coming up for James Bolden.
And in that situation, you had a 3-second differential from the game clock to the shot clock. So not enough time to just go for the stop. So you give your defense a chance to maybe create a turnover. And once West Virginia breaks that, you got a foul. And again, Oklahoma State continued to try to stretch out the game. And for for West Virginia to win, it comes down to taking care of the ball and knocking down your free throws.
Yeah.
And you get out of here.
Bolden makes them both. 2-possession game. Smith looking back to make sure he's clear. 16 on the clock. Carroll's got to go. Did he rush that shot there, Brendan?
Well, Jeffrey Carroll's got to understand, you have a 2-possession game. You don't need a 3. You've had success spacing the floor, and you get it into your best offensive player's hands. You got to continue to look to drive.
That was not the look, basically, that Oklahoma State was looking for in the final 20 seconds. Kanate to the line.
But you got to credit West Virginia there. They discouraged the drive. No angle to go. It didn't come easy.
Yeah.
But when you're an offensive superstar, you can't let that turn you away.
Yeah. It looked like he got flustered, too. He heard the crowd basically pointing out, the clock winding down, and heaved it up. Kanate hits both. 12 seconds left. And Mike Boynton wants another timeout.
And West Virginia's done a nice job at the foul line here as of late. They continued to take care of the ball over the last 3-4 possessions. And Oklahoma State's been resilient and valiant in making answer buckets, but West Virginia's come down and taken care of business.
Yeah, how about this West Virginia team? I mean, a team that's showing the signs of being tested. And they've seen the battles like this with a very experienced backcourt. The pass from Javon Carter to Daxter Miles. Those guys haven't been lights out, but they've done enough. They made the winning plays down the stretch.
Well, and when West Virginia stretched it to 7, remember the Carter 3, and then him attacking Mitchell Solomon to get that 5th. And that was really the extra push that gave them a little bit of breathing room. You know, and I think it's unfair, too. When we talk about West Virginia, we talk so much about their pressure, and that's what they're great at. But they can win in multiple ways. Not just this year. They've done it in the past. They can win half-court grinders as well.
And again, no Issa Ahmad. Last season's second leading scorer. Another turnover from Oklahoma State, and this one is done. Ahmad expected back January 9th or the 13th once they get the final word from the NCAA. First Big 12 game of the season. It promises to be a great Big 12 year as the Mountaineers take down Oklahoma State to start 1-0 in Big 12 play. Now out to Kansas State and Iowa State.